this. We've got a few parts, but first off is going to be to pull out the 970, and then we're going to swap out some fans here, and we're going to change this drive cage up here into a fan intake. Here we go. So here's the 3-fan 970. Let's compare that real quick to the 2080. So the size difference isn't that big. Very close. You can't see it there. The 2080 is much thicker than the 970. See a little bit of depth there, but not that different in size. The cooling solutions are kind of similar, so the fit should be fine. If somebody wants that 970, let me know. I don't have a use for it, so we can sell it for a pretty good price. So we've got the old card out. The next thing I want to do, actually, is I want to work on the fans while this is all open. So we're going to take the front off here. Never want to miss an opportunity to blow a case out. So because we're using kind of an older case, we need to make sure that our fans are up to snuff. So I've got an Anoxia in there which has worked pretty well. This little Noctua is the wrong size, so we're just going to pull this guy out. I love these rubber mounts that Noctua uses. You'll see the fan is actually connected to a Molex here. I've got a couple of the inline resistors to keep the fan running quiet. So the question is, do I keep that in Anoxia, and which way is it spinning? I need my flashlight, but that's up there. Okay, there it is. So this Anoxia is an intake, which is good. That's what I want it to be doing. And the Anoxia is quiet enough. I don't think I'm going to worry about swapping it out tonight. We'll only be doing the one new Noctua fan. These, if you've never bought a Noctua, these are just beautiful casing, the packaging, it's all amazing. They're wonderful fans. I even like the color scheme. They're classy. So, same thing here, you've got different noise adapters. These are really just resistors. They're inline resistors that change the speed of the fan. So it looks like I've got a few options on those. I'll take a look at them. These are all 3-pin fans. They are not PWMs. I don't want to lose my rubber mount. So we'll put in the second 92 right here. These are so neat. They have the, not only do they have the ridges on the fan blades and on the inside, and then they have these rubber edges to make sure that the fan movement is isolated from the cage, from the case. We use these little rubber mounts, which you need to get your grips out for. Instead of using screws to tie the fan down to the case, you use these little rubber mounts and pull them through. We'll see how it looks in a minute. And when you pull these guys through, now it's rubber screws on a rubber mount, and there's just total isolation of the fan from the case. I'm not always a cooling guy, I'm kind of a sound dork. I like things to be quiet. Let's make sure this comes through. That's it. I'm not so sure about this album. It's not going well. I'm ready to change it. If you haven't heard it before, Sufjan Stevens, Illinois. It's one of the most beautiful albums I've ever heard. It's a wonderful, wonderful record. Oh, you know what? I forget this fan cage comes off. Make this a bit easier. There we go. So I've got to watch out. I have the hard drive LED there. There you go. Nice little pull through, and then you still got to snap it a little bit so that the button is in the right place there. Those are nice. Nice flush mount. Sometimes you've got to be gentle and massage the button. Sometimes, you know, you've got to kind of work it. Every button's a little different. Come on. Come on. Here we go. Okay. So we've got the Anoxia here, which I'm just going to let sit for now because I don't want to unscrew that. And we'll keep the Noxua here as well. So that's two 92s on the bottom for input, which is pretty good, I think, for air intake, even if it is coming through the side vents indirectly. Let's get our dust guard back on. Great. Some folks remove the dust guard in a mod for this to get a little better airflow, and I might end up doing that. Other folks modify this whole cage to be able to take a pair of 120s, which funny enough, there's room for in the cage. You just need to drill extra mounting holes, and you could kind of do two 120s in that same spot. Let's build this larger 120 fan that we want to put on. So I found this thing. It's called the Icy Dock. It was about 50 bucks on Amazon. So we're going to just mount a 120 fan here. So what we're going to do is this cooler over here, I don't think comes with a very good fan. And so we're going to swap out the 120 that's in here. What this actually is this is not intended just for cooling 5 1/4 inch drive bays to 3 1/2 inch bays. Since I don't even have any 3 1/2 inch drives, I don't really care. So I've got two SSDs in here that right now are packed on with Velcro. This is going to be one of my main air intakes for the box. And I don't want that to be a noisy fan. So if I can figure out how to open this, looks like it's on hinges. Cool, that's nice. You can see here they've got a whole bunch of kind of hot swappable little sockets for installing those 3 1/2 inch drives. First thing we do is take out this fan, and we're going to replace it with a very nice Corsair fan. So this is the ML120 Pro. Pull out my cutter here. Obviously not quite as fancy as the Noxua packaging. Really useless. Look at that thing. What is that? There's nothing filled out. Should I be worried? We have a small problem that it looks like this is a PWM fan, which I did not expect. I'm hoping there's an adapter in here somewhere. So I think I can connect it with just a 3-pin. And it just means it'll run at full speed all the time. The question is, how well will it respond if I try to put a resistor in the way to slow it down a little bit? And I'm not sure on a PWM fan. Oh, that's nice. There's a little dust filter in front. Oh, there we go. I can just do the screws straight through the top here once the dust filters are removed. Here we go. Free and clear. If anybody wants a free 120mm fan, DC brushless, from Young Lin Tech, it's all yours. DM me. I've got this one here. Now I've got an older Antec 3-speed. This is a great 120 fan. She's seen cleaner days, that's for sure. If the Corsair is too noisy or I can't get it toned down well, I may come back to this Antec. This ran for a long time really well. Okay folks, always check the direction on your fan. Make sure you're installing it the right direction. So we will install it like this. Let's see if I can use the old screws here if they're too big. Turn around and I give it one more try. Let's see, those are not going to work real well. So this sits here. I think that works okay. I don't want to pick you up by the middle. There you go. Yeah, the existing screws work great here. Just had to get past the initial friction. Skeletons in their graves. They came up clapping in the spirit of the aviator. You guys asked nicely. Someday I'll share my CD that I have on Amazon of me singing. But you'd have to ask really nicely. Stephen A. Douglas was a great debater, but Abraham Lincoln was a great emancipator. Okay, so the power for this guy runs back here. Okay, let's pop off. So if you look closely, you'll see a little thing in here. I had a one of my SATA connectors actually broke on my motherboard, so I've got it taped over to make sure that I don't put it in again. Let's get this stuff out of here. So traditionally I've used my 5 1/4 bay to hold a lot of wire. So this, being an older case, doesn't have a lot of great cable management, so I tend to dump a lot of it up in here. Now I'm going to have stuff in there, so that's not as much of an option. I know it wasn't meant for it. That's a really nice little 2.5 spot. I always worry when I disconnect these SATAs. They used to be really reliable. Now it seems like every time I disconnect and reconnect a SATA, I have about a 50-50 chance of it not working. You guys can kind of see all the cables in there. I'm going to turn it towards me so I can see what I'm doing. So I think I'm going to need to pull... Oh, this is funny. So these are old as the hills. These are the old 5 1/4 mounts for this drive cage. So the connectors are left down here on the bottom. So I think I need to mount these to the side. Yep, there it is. Lines up. So funny, I thought a lot of times about dumping those 5 1/4 mounts on the bottom. I thought, man, I'm never going to need those. I'm never putting a DVD drive in here. Why would I bother? And here we go. I'm totally using them. So as far as the intakes, my guess is that this 120 up top is primarily going to be about keeping the CPU and the PSU cool, and bringing in extra air from them to help push out some of the air that's coming hot from the video card. I'm hopeful that the 292s will be enough input for the video card. What I really wish I could do is, with the video card in here, I wish I could use these slots here, open them up and have another 92 to help have 2 exhausts out the back. Seems like a waste when I've got all this space down here. There are PCI blower fans you can get that would take 1 slot. They would suck air from the internal and kind of blow it out the back. I think they'd probably be pretty noisy and maybe overkill, but if we run into heating issues, that's my next spot, is to figure out how to get more air out from underneath the video card. The CPU has been pretty happy with this cooler. We'll see if it stays happy with the video card dumping a bunch of heat into the case. The other thing I've got to figure out is my room. So this room I'm in, that's my office, is a converted pump room. So it doesn't have any windows. It's got a one ventilation input. And when we converted it to an office, I put in a fume hood. It takes the fumes up and out through a little exit that's drilled in the outside of the walls. So one of the things we've talked about is this. The reason I have this video card is my wife and I just sold all of our Bitcoin. It's been going down, and we kind of felt like it was a good time to cash out. And so it was about 7 years ago, in the summer of 2011, that I built a mining rig to mine some Bitcoin. And that video card had, what I built for that mining rig was not this case, by the way. I got a massive Raven case. I think it was a Silverstone Raven. Whoever makes the Raven. Massive Raven case, and had 2 top-end AMD video cards, because AMDs were better for mining. And ran that thing 24/7 for about 3 or 4 months until Bitcoin crashed. So it was at 5 when I started, and I could make money. And then it got all the way up to 32, which I couldn't believe. I had paid for the computer and more when it was at 32, and then it crashed back down to $1. And Bitcoin was dead, and we all moved on with our lives. And funny enough, it was Bitcoin jumped up to 100 something a few years later. And I turned to my wife, I said, oh my gosh, I hope I still have those somewhere. Those coins, the old coins that I mined. And I did find them. So now that we've cashed out, this is kind of a capstone to say I never got to use those video cards that I bought. Really fancy video cards, so nice. Never got to use them for gaming. They were only for mining. And so now that we've cashed out and I've earned back more than I spent on that mining rig, I went ahead and bought a nice video card that this time I get to actually play with. Alright, let's see if this slides in. Looks like it should go in. Oh, yes. Oh, that's great. Yes, that's going to slide right in. Beautiful. For the first time ever, we're going to take this beautiful, beautiful face and we're going to knock out a few panels that we don't need anymore. So you'll see it here. It's recessed a little. I'm not sure it's worth it tonight, but aesthetically at some point I'm going to need to go back in and slide those mounts back one more spot. So when building a case, or rebuilding a case, I like to just make sure stuff's working one piece at a time. So we'll get the fans all hooked up, make sure that they run on power up, and then we will connect all the SATA drives back up, make sure that Windows boot's okay, and then we'll add the video card. I think I can still cheat and cable manage some of those into this 3.5 bay. I think these are already good to go for the GPU. Yeah, I've got an 8 and an 8, so these should already work just fine for the GPU. Okay, so fans. First and simplest one is going to be the bottom fan, the Naxia. So I've got this on the low noise adapter. I'm going to grab one of these Molex that's just sitting around. I hope I'm using the right term. If this isn't a Molex and I keep saying Molex, I'm going to sound pretty dumb. And then for this guy, we're just going to start with the basic adapter for it. And if we want to make it a little quieter, we'll put one of these inline adapters in. Just try and tuck this back here so it stays out of the way a little bit. I'd like the fan to be able to get clean air in there. There we go. Look at my beautiful cable management. I have one problem, which is I am a fan header short here. I have a Molex to a 3-pin here that came with the Noctua fan. So the question is, can I plug a 4 into a 3 and get something? It looks like it's designed to slot in, so we need to break off this part of the adapter. So let's do that real quick. Oh, that comes off nicely. Yay for pliers and weak plastic. Yeah, that came off pretty clean. Okay, so if you look closely on this 4-pin, it's actually slotted to fit into a 3-pin by slots. So let's see if this works. Boy, that's pretty hacky, man. For now, that appears to be a pretty good fit, and at least gives me power to that fan. We'll piggyback off one of these guys here. More beautiful cable management. Watch this. Watch. Oh, wow, look at that cable management. Wow. I am a little worried about the airflow up top here. This 120 is not, doesn't have a real clear shot, so it's still going to push air in, but it's not going to be smooth. Might be able to tie down some of these a little better. I'm not that worried about it yet. And I do have these side channels that'll be coming through unobstructed. So let's see if it works. Should turn on. Let's see. That is not a quiet fan right now. Just stop making colors. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. So that fan on the top is running really fast right now. I'm wondering if I turn it down a little bit. Yeah, it's shooting pretty good air in. I may try and quiet it down a little bit. Let's try just one notch quieter. So if I look at my options... Oh, no, honey. Go to sleep. I've got my 13. I've got my 12. Let's see if I can inline the 12 here. Oh, shoot. Am I going to have to mutilate another one of these things? There we go. Okay, so this goes into here. Let's see if this quiets it down a little bit. Some of you may be thinking, hey, any noise the PC makes will be better than that music he's listening to. And you're not necessarily wrong. You just have bad taste. That's a better sound. Okay, so I'm still getting draw from up here, which is what I'd like, but it's not screaming at me. These guys are getting plenty of draw from the sides here, just like it's designed to do. The case is set up pretty well for that. Nice solid breeze. So this all seems to be working. We can futz with how fast or noisy we need it to be after we've got all that, the rest of the stuff sorted out. So next thing is we want to get the SSDs back in. Question is, where do I mount those now? I wonder if they'd nestle in here at all. Huh, they kind of do. Well, if I had some, do I have some two-way tape? I could just freaking tape them on there. This is all tools. This is adhesive. Aha! oh, this is beautiful. I've got some really nice 3M two-way tape. Oh, buddies, we are doing this. Oh, this is so hacky. Let's tape them up here so they're a little bit away. Okay, here. Make sure those point in the right direction. It should fit right here, I hope. Golden. We are going to move away from the hacky Velcro strips we had before, and we're going to move to the really hacky double-sided 3M tape. As I remember, this stuff cures pretty hard. I should be careful. We use some of this on some windows. Okay, good. Good. I can't believe that works. For the one other person out there in the entire world who's thinking, hey, I've got an Antec Solo from 13, 12, from 2005. Can I put a GTX 2080 Ti in there? You can watch this video and know that the answer is an unequivocal, absolutely maybe. Oh, that feels so solid. Wow, that is nice. Why did I not do that tape before? It looks good too. Huh. This is the case that keeps on giving right here. Would help if I turned it on. Okay, we've got post. Boot, 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 boot. Boot, woo! All right. I'm going to go ahead and cut Windows off here. Bye, Windows. Bye-bye. So here's where I'm going to actually use the instructions for that big old bracket. Okay, so it says put the card in and then put the bracket in the slots underneath it. So that'd be these guys here. Yeah, that works just fine. All right, this is about all of the hotness that we get here, but I'm about to take the video card's under coverings off. You see its private bits. Woo-woo! Oh my goodness. Still can't believe we're doing this. In this case, this motherboard was never meant for all this. I can hear the motherboard groaning under the weight of this thing. Fits just fine though, like I said, about the same size as that 970. And it's got a lot of room under here to kind of circulate and pull air. I can't quite figure out where that's supposed to click in. This doesn't make any sense. Install the graphics card. Make sure it slightly contacts. Use the screws to put in place. Okay, so at a minimum, I've got to install it one down. There's no getting around that. It feels like this rubber piece has to go. Does it come off? No, that's not designed to come off. That's designed to be on there. Which makes sense, otherwise this would be a real big sounding board. I guess that kind of helps a little bit. I worry it gets in the way of the fans a little bit. Well, let's try it out. I probably ought to open these guys up down here. For this card, it doesn't hurt for it to have a little more opportunities for air. Okay, so let's get it to where this is slightly supporting this, which would be about right here. And we will screw that in tight. That works. Let's just open these up too. Almost forgot to give power to the video card. That could have ended badly. Watch my PCI slot go up in flames. The card tries to draw 170 watts through the PCI slot. Oh shoot. Gotta get that little guy in first. Okay, here we go. This 750 watt Seasonic should be more than enough. I'm not doing any overclocking. This is a 7800, which is a beefy CPU, but a 750 for just this, and a couple of SSDs and a handful of little fans. I think we're okay. Let's see if she posts. Duke. My colors are not matching here. I'm sorry about that. This was not intended to be a build that had a whole bunch of colors. This is not how this was designed. It posts using the integrated graphics card. Let's see if it's putting anything out on the new card. Oh, it is. Hey! Woo! We got it. Here, I'm going to tilt and show you. There is Windows booting on my test monitor. Yay! Woo, 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 woo. My whole body's dancing, but you only get to see my hands. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey. We're going to put the cover back on, close it up, go plug it in, run some benchmarks, and enjoy this amazing, awesome new video card that fits just fine in a 13, 14, 15-year-old case. I think it's 2003, 2004 this came out, and it works so far. We'll see if it cools it at all. But I like the air coming in here. This all feels pretty good so far. Okay, thank you again for sticking with this. I hope it was useful to you, enjoyed it, and we'll see you guys later.